Hi, I'm Debbie Moraes. Once again, welcome to Legal Matters, the program that's been designed to address critical issues facing consumers and businesses today. It's legal information, practical solutions, and straight talk about a wide variety of topics that will affect your home and work life. 'Tis the season to be jolly, 'tis the season to be shopping, and tis the season for scammers to be shopping too. They manage to take advantage of you through the traditional means that many of you are aware of, but also through the new means in social media especially. There are rogue websites to be careful of. There are gift card scams. We're going to cover a few of those today. Scams and malware, ho, ho, ho. So, as perennial as the poinsettias, we're going to go through as many of these as we can today, and we're going to enlist our lawyers' help to see if we can have a safe holiday shopping spree. So once again, we would like to welcome from Bazar, Grasso law firm in East Providence. With us today is David Bazar.
Hi, Debbie.
We miss Jackie.
We do.
Perhaps next time. So, holiday shopping, 2013. Of the things that are going on, I guess gift cards are something we always talk about on Legal Matters. People have to be aware. What's the latest that you know of gift cards that we should be worrying about right now?
Well, when we talk about gift cards, there's a couple of different things people should know. One of the things is nowadays gift cards are often sold out in racks in stores, and then people buy them and they bring them to the cashier and put whatever amount they want on them. So the latest scam, I guess you would call it, as I understand it, is the thieves, the bad guys, will take on the back of the card, there's sometimes a scratch-off box, and they remove that and get the code, and then some unsuspecting consumer will go and buy the card, and when it's activated, they can then access the card, the scammers, and take the money that's been put on it off the card.
Isn't that wonderful? And apparently some are so technologically savvy that they can take a scanner and actually be able to read that without scratching that off. So I guess that's popular enough and made enough of a difference financially to them that they've gotten the technology to do this.
Right.
So what do we do to beware?
Well, the safest way to protect yourself is a lot of stores will sell those by keeping the cards behind the counter where the cash register is. And if you buy it from that point of sale rather than from a rack, the scammer would have been less likely to be able to have access to the card and have scanned it or removed the scratch box in the back.
I imagine that the sales representatives are not going to be too happy about that if they are having customers approach them and saying, I don't really want the ones that are in the rack, but will you get one from behind the counter or whatever, but it sounds like it's a smart thing to do.
It's the safest way to protect yourself on that. Some other things that people should know about gift cards, gift certificates in general in Rhode Island is that they're not supposed to have expiration dates. So if you buy something and there's an expiration date, you should question that. And most of them are now sold on those cards that are like credit cards so that you don't have to use them all at once. There are still mom and pop stores that, because of the technology that they don't have, will give you a gift card handwritten, and that's like cash almost. You have to be careful not to lose it. Just as the other cards are like credit cards, you can't lose them because there's usually not a way to track it back to you to get the money back.
And as I understand it, you're supposed to use a credit card, never a debit card, because at least they'll be honoring it if there is a problem. That's still the case?
Well, now we're talking a few different things, but yes, that's the case. First of all, if you use a credit card when you buy a gift card or something like that, you can trace it back to your card and have some protection. And also online shopping. When you go online, there's a lot of things that you have to be careful of, but the best way to protect yourself against any of the fraudulent websites or phishing sites or whatever they might be called is to pay for things with a credit card so that if there is an issue, you're at least in a position where you can challenge the charge itself.
And apparently, even though as of this date's taping, there are something like 1,500 tracked websites that are fakes, that are rogues, and are causing people problems. And it's not even the beginning of, well, actually it is the beginning of the season. So what can people do to check out a website to make sure that it's legit?
Well,
thoughts about that?
Yeah, I have some thoughts, but it's difficult because they've become very complex and sophisticated in how they create these sites. So you might think you're on a website for a major retailer or something of that nature, and they've redirected you to a site that they've created that has the same logos and colors and things of that nature. So how do you know if you're on the correct website? Well, there's a couple of things you can do, one of which is look at it carefully, make sure that it's spelled correctly, that there's no little details that look off. You could call the company that you're on the website of and ask them what is the correct website address and confirm that it is. I heard someone mention you could call the number on the website, but if someone's going to the extent of creating a website that's fake, I'm pretty sure they probably would be sophisticated enough to put a wrong number up there so you're not calling the correct company. So I wouldn't call actually the number from the website that you're on, but I'd contact the store locally and ask what the 800 number is to check the information.
That sounds practical. Also, it would give you an opportunity to find out if the offer that is being made or claimed to be made on that website, that's the inducement, you'd be able to check with the retailer to see if that's something that's valid, because they could easily confirm or deny.
Right.
Apparently, Google is very aware of these phishing scams, and McAfee is apparently one of the providers that's doing security. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Google and I believe Norton's, I'm not sure if McAfee does it yet, but apparently once you get an email and go to click to a site, which you shouldn't do, if you did, or before you did, you could actually Google that site, and Google has some website that they'll let you paste into your browser, and then you can check it and you'll know for sure whether or not it was that store's website. I'm not so sure that many people would be aware of that, but it's something that as people are doing a Google search, they would definitely be able to find out how to make sure that the IP address is legitimate,
right.
And many of them aren't.
So what you're saying is if you get an email with a website, you can cut and paste it from the email or wherever you got it from and put it into Google, and then the search engine will check to see if it's a legitimate site, which is a good thing to do. But I would still take it one step farther and say, what is the 800 number for the store, or call the local store directly and follow up with some live person that you know, because you've gotten the information either directly from the local store or from another source, and double check it that way too.
Sounds right. And I guess it's google.com, but there's a slash or a backslash that is safe browsing that lets people paste in their the supposed website and do some checking. How about the Amazons and sites like that? Would you be assuming that when they send you an email that they would be protected, that there's an HTTPS, that they'd be safe and you wouldn't have to worry about clicking to Amazon? Would it be safer to not click on it but just go to the Amazon.com website if that's where you were shopping?
Well, if I got an email from Amazon and I had never shopped on Amazon and I had no contact with Amazon, I would be very skeptical. Where would they get your email address from? I don't think they generally send out emails randomly. So if you never shopped at, we're using that as an example, Amazon, and you get an email from them, I wouldn't follow it. And even if you did, I'd be careful. I would still, in my own use of the internet, go directly to the website and find, if by going through Amazon.com that I put in directly myself, if the same offer exists, you know, as just a double check to make sure.
It's interesting because if you had been an Amazon shopper, or I have a couple of websites where I shop, and they often will send an email confirmation, which would be my inducement to click and make sure that what I ordered was what I'm about to receive or whatever. You would be tempted to click on that automatically, so maybe there's a reason to not do that.
Well, that's different than what I'm talking about.
Right, but it's still an outbound message.
Right, but if I get the message from Amazon immediately after having bought something on Amazon,
different, of course,
and the information comes back with, you just bought X, Y, and Z, and I know that's exactly what I bought, I'd have some confidence. Again, as long as I got to the correct website and knew I got myself to the correct website.
It's very interesting how smart and savvy these Grinches or the scammers have become, hearing that or knowing that you might have purchased something at a given site, whether it was WTSO or Amazon or something else. The minute they say confirmation, it would, even if you had ordered something a while ago or had shopped a while ago, it would make sense that that would be a very likely inducement to make you go looking again. Buyer beware. Let's talk about these phone solicitations that come through now. So you've purchased something, you're likely to answer the phone at dinner time. You've purchased something and someone says, hi, I'm from, and perhaps a store that you've done work with or purchased from recently. Apparently, even if you don't give them your credit card number, they can still attach or somehow access your bank account. What's someone to do with that? How can you avoid that, David? Is there anything that can be done?
Well, when someone calls you at your
Yes.
house, a lot of people have caller ID these days. I don't take any calls unless it's from somebody I know or want to speak to, obviously. And the best thing to do, you said you get a call, people take it at dinner time. I don't take them, and I wouldn't take
Smart.
them. So if you get a call, if I get a call
Same.
from an 800 service, it says sometimes, or something of that nature, and I'm not expecting a call from anything like that, I just wouldn't take it. The less contact you have with somebody, the less opportunity they're going to have to take information from you that they shouldn't have.
Yet how surprising that for someone who, I assume most people do know now, if you're getting a phone call, you're not supposed to give your social security card, your number, your credit card number. But imagine reading that even if the person did not give any information that's personal or a PIN number or anything like that, that a week later they could receive a statement from their bank account saying that their bank account had been accessed or somehow compromised. It doesn't seem reasonable that if you don't give them information, just by taking that phone call, they're able to access that. Not that I understand it, but it certainly is a buyer beware and then some, isn't it?
And I don't know
How that happens.
how the technology would allow them to get information about you without your giving it to them, unless perhaps the telephone is connected to the internet, which is connected to your computer.
Good thought,
and by
maybe.
their getting the phone call opening up access to the internet line that comes into your house, they can get into a computer and get it. It's the only way I could think that that might even come close to working.
Pretty resourceful. What about, apparently, mobile apps? People are very interested in using them. They make their life easier. But apparently, that's a new ground for cyber, squatting or hacking. How would you know? What should you do when you have a downloadable app? Do you have any thoughts about what someone should do? Either maybe go to that website. What are your thoughts about that, David?
Again, I would only buy apps from a trusted site. So if I have an Apple phone, the Apple Store, if it's a Mac, the Mac Store, whatever it is that you're using. So first of all, make sure you buy the app from a trusted source, because if you get an app that third party, that they can put anything into your phone that, or whatever you're using the application for, that can start sending information out. And a lot of these applications will say to you, do you want us to send your location out? Just for example, Urban Spoon, the restaurant application, says it wants to use your local GPS address from your phone because it's going to give you the restaurants in the area. Well, if you downloaded it from a trusted source and you want that information out, that's fine. But just beware that phones and iPads and all these things have GPS type equipment in them, so that lots of things can be tracked. And I don't want to make people paranoid about their lives or anything, but you can block some of that if you want to.
And maybe there's some wisdom in doing that. Apparently there's now a site that someone can go to on their own if they're initiating it rather than it being sent to them. Fake Installer has some application that will help you screen some of these rogue SMS and mobile sites. So that may be one way to help avoid a scam if possible. The Facebook and the other social media sites that people have been using so extensively, you would think that if you go to someone's Facebook page, it's someone that you know, that's presumed. But if there is a coupon, if there is an offer that's made on someone's website, on their news feed, wouldn't you think that that's a logical, reasonable, and safe place? Apparently, that isn't either.
Right.
So now what do we do about that? It means don't ever go from a Facebook page offer? Are we suggesting to people they should never go from the Facebook page to click on the website because it might be a rogue one also?
Well, there's a couple of things. That's actually, we talk about things being relatively new. In the computer world, relatively new is really relatively new. And some of these new things that can come to you through social media, you have to be careful of, but never is never. So what I would do is if I found something that I thought was interesting from a friend's news feed or whatever through Facebook or whatever other source I found it, I would maybe speak to my friend first and say, what do you know about this? And if they have no information on it and somehow got through to you, I would not follow up on it. But if they say, oh no, this is something I've used, it's really legit, you should really think about doing it, then do it. But vet it out. Don't just, oh yeah, well it's there, I'm going to do it. If my friend likes it, I'm going to do it, and without following up and getting information on those types of things before you use them.
And I guess it's important to point out to our viewers that even if someone has come to their website and through a Facebook, the fact is it doesn't necessarily mean that whoever is hosting that Facebook page that they had any control over it, because it could just be accessed through someone, and beware.
Right, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. If they don't know about it and you're still interested, follow up where it may have come from, but don't just assume because it's on your friend's Facebook page or something that they're endorsing it and that they know about it.
And considering things like websites and mobile apps are designed for ease and user convenience, it seems to me the very things that you're saying are really a little bit more complicating someone's life when they have to be that kind of responsible to vet it. But it certainly, with the things that we're reviewing today and what McAfee has for 12 scams of Christmas or Norton's some more, it seems that really is important for people to be almost hyper-vigilant these days.
Right. Well, what do we call it? The information world. And your information is out there and people can get your information. So what we're suggesting is that you not do anything to make it easy for people to get your information. Protect yourself, be smart, think about where things came from, how you can check them out, and protect yourself, because once your information's out there, it's really hard to get it back and not have someone use it inappropriately.
Sounds right. And I guess tied to those who want to shop online and then have things delivered, of course people care about having them delivered for free or at a minimal charge. Apparently the UPSs and the FedExs of the world are now targets for scammers who want to follow FedEx delivery people, and once they make the delivery to your garage, that once UPS exits, in comes the thief and he avails himself to your package. It's suggested that you instead wait and require a signature.
Right.
Who can be home night and day and night to do that? What's the thing to do, David?
That is the recommendation nowadays, is if you have something that you're sending to someone fairly expensive, require the signature. So is that more difficult? Yes. People not home? Sometimes. But for example, UPS will leave a note on your door that something's being delivered to you, you weren't home, you can go to their facility. The one closest to me, I think, is Jefferson Boulevard, and I've done it before. You take the note, you go there, present it to them, you sign the proper forms, they give you the package. A lot better to be safe than sorry. So that is the best protection. If you want to ship something to someone, if they have to sign for it, then there's less chance for somebody else to follow the truck and see the package left on the front step and take it. You'll never know. The person who sent it may not know that it never got to you till you don't send the thank you note and they say, hey, how come you didn't thank me? Well, I never got it.
Imagine stalkers that way too. Apparently those who want to use gift cards for, say, sports events or a concert, apparently there are lots of buyer beware details about that. Do you have some thoughts about how you can protect yourself if you wanted to buy something for someone in Chicago?
Well, there's a couple of things. There are some legitimate websites if you wanted to actually buy tickets for somebody, where you can buy tickets. And for instance, when the Boston Red Sox were in the playoffs, someone with season tickets could toss their tickets by the internet to somebody else to use. They call it a ticket toss. Problem is, with any big sporting event or big concert or things of that nature, people create false tickets and then they put them up for sale on Craigslist or whatever other website Facebook, where you might want to sell something. I would only buy tickets for somebody from a legitimate website. Ticketmaster, StubHub, if it's a sport event, has a lot of those things. And you can then download and print the tickets from a lot of these sites. But if it's a legitimate site, two things. Number one, as we talked about earlier, pay for it with a credit card, so if there's a problem, you have some recourse. And vet the website that you're buying it from to make sure it's legitimate. I wouldn't buy tickets from somebody individually through social media or anything of that nature, because there's almost no recourse, and it could be a scam and you're going to be out the money.
And while I'm not familiar with it specifically, I understand many try to, it might be like this ticket toss that you're describing, but many try to use ticket auction or sell tickets at auction, in which case that crapshoot might actually be a crapshoot and you end up being with a short end of the stick plus no tickets.
Right, and if you have season tickets to certain sporting events, the place where you buy the tickets from will tell you, this is our preferred vendor for reselling tickets, StubHub, and for the Red Sox, for example. And you want to get some of your money back for what you bought the ticket for, you can sell it through those sites rather than trying to sell individually and having people worried about buying from you.
Okay, and I guess another issue that's related to the internet that while we're talking about, never mind buying things, apparently since snail mail is so 2003, and this is 2013, that if someone sends you an email card, whether it was Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, or Happy Thanksgiving or birthday, apparently that's a new set of opportunities for scammers to have you click on it when you say, gee, isn't it nice that I'm getting a birthday card, open it up, and then it is able to access your computer and put on viruses and malware. And apparently Norton's and McAfee can't pick up on that. So does that mean you never open that up, or do you just try to figure out who it came from first in the title line? I guess there's something that you can do by looking at a header from an email and maybe then find out if it came from Mary Jones, who's your aunt or something. Right.
So there are certain ways that you can take a look at where the card came from. And one of the things is it from a legitimate company that does these online cards?
Good point.
You can check that first. Then, of course, the from box. Who is it from? Is it somebody you know? It is a little bit difficult for someone, unless they have more information already from you, like your contact list or something, to send something to you that looks like it's from somebody you know. And again, one of the things is, if it has a name of somebody you know, you can check to make sure the from goes back to an email address that's correct. A lot of times when they do these phishing emails and things of that nature, it looks legit until you look at the actual address that it was sent from.
The header.
The header. And that's totally different than, for example, Bank of America. If you have an account there and they send information to you, you can look at that address and compare it to the phishing address. They're never really exactly the same. They're very different, actually. So you check those things out, and then if you know it's from someone that you know and it's from a legitimate site that sends cards, you can feel at least somewhat comfortable. But if you're at all unsure, I wouldn't open it.
What you're suggesting makes me think that regardless of what email program you look at, there is something in the toolbar that says rules and change headers, so that you can always look at a header, and maybe these days you need to make sure so that you can check out more easily the very things that you're suggesting.
To see if it's been changed or altered in some way.
Oh my goodness. And of course, since nobody wants stuffed animals anymore, they would rather have online games. Apparently, thieves and crooks are very well aware of that, so anybody who wants to buy online games is very likely to be targeted. So, you know that you want Grand Theft Auto 525 or whatever iteration they have right now. How do you avoid having that become, you want the best deal, so someone's offering it. Again, is that something where you have to go to the retailer to make sure you get it from him versus trying to get the best deal you can online?
All right, so are you telling me that Beanie Babies and Cabbage Patch dolls are out?
I think they might be, David, yes.
All right, so maybe I'm dating myself there a little bit, but I'm a guy who likes to go to a store and look at things and touch things, and I'll do some online shopping. I'll buy
Yes.
a book from Amazon online and read it on an iPad or a Kindle, but I like to go and see things in the store. So I think that's the best way, of course, for something like that to protect yourself. But if you're someone who does these gaming things and knows about the websites where they're sold legitimately, then you can probably buy it that way. If you're new to that, I would go to a store first and ask someone who works there, because they all know these things. What is the best way to buy these? What's the best way to protect yourself? What are the legitimate sites?
Does it make sense that whenever you're doing an outbound search yourself to a retailer, that you would reasonably expect that you will get to that retailer? So if I want Grand Theft Auto and I know XYZ store is selling it, does it make sense that if I go to XYZ store's website outbound from my search engine, that I will absolutely get to that website?
I don't think you absolutely have a guarantee you get there unless you know the website itself, put it into the address box rather than going through the browser and pulling it up that way. And I know people do shop this way sometimes. You said Grand Theft Auto. I assume that's some kind of game. So you put that in,
yes.
and then it gives you a bunch of different places that you might be able to buy it. Most of them are probably legitimate. They advertise through Google or whatever to get towards the top of those pages. So it's a good chance you're going to get to a legitimate site. But the only way I think you can be really confident of it is to go to the site where you want to buy it and then put the game in their site and search it.
Okay, and I guess you had mentioned earlier, back on the issue about gift cards, is it true that when you're buying a gift card online that they don't have to tell you about all of the fees that they may exact from you on the other end when you try to redeem that card? So in other words, if you gave it to your cousin as a gift card, he goes to pick up whatever at the store, and they find that there is an additional surcharge, carrying fee, I don't even know what they want to call them.
Restocking fee or whatever.
Restocking. Are they bound and beholden, is the seller bound and beholden on all cases or some cases? How does that work?
A legitimate website for a legitimate retailer will have a drop-down box for the agreement, and it'll have all of the details in that agreement, because they don't want to subject themselves to a class action lawsuit for somebody who got charged an extra $3 for something that they didn't expect, and now some big law firm in Texas is going to file a class action lawsuit against them. So if you're on a legitimate website, if you really want to know, click down box, read the agreement. Sometimes it's only 30 or 40 pages, and you can figure out what's going on.
Boy, what a buyer beware. What is that, caveat emptor or something?
Caveat emptor,
My goodness.
buyer beware.
So you still are saying, apart from all of this, we really still need to go to the retailer for the best chance of not getting ripped off or scammed by some Grinches at some point.
I'm not actually saying that because, well, that's me. I'm, like I said, old-fashioned. I like to get out and see people and do things like that.
Good boy.
But, you can even have scams there. Remember some of these stores that had problems where you slide the card through the card holder and somebody put some software in there to intercept all of those things or get the information. So you always have to be careful.
Apparently, even with a PIN number, they say cover your card at an ATM machine, or cover your card when you're using something, or you have to pin in your number on your phone. Right. So, happy shopping, everyone. We once again would like to thank Bazar Grasso law firm in East Providence for helping us. We wish you happy holidays, and hopefully you're better aware and more prepared as you do whatever kind of shopping for holidays or birthdays. And we thank you for tuning in. Legal Matters. Legal Matters.